All right, let's do this. Okay, everybody, we're here to talk about online assessments. The plan today is to just go over 3 types of online assessments. We're going to be talking about Google Forms, Socrative, and Illuminate. The plan is to show pros and cons of each one and then move into how to set one up and show you how to work each one. Hopefully you find one that works best for you. The question that will probably be asked at some point is, how do we secure tests to make sure they don't open up windows or tabs or anything like that? That is something we are working on. There's kind of a way right now to where we can use NetOps still to see what's on their screens. So a combination of NetOps and then just like a Google Meet to where you could see what they're doing. That kind of seems to be the best one right now. But let's go ahead and talk about the first one. Oh, forgot. All of these will do the following. They will all grade multiple choice, multiple select, and true false. So all of them will do that. Google Forms does a little bit more at certain times. You know, but you figure out which one works best for you and just use it. So talking about Google Forms, the pros, it's built into Google Suite. You could make a quiz directly from Google Classroom. Just click on quiz and you could start writing it. You could also go to forms.google.com and write your test there and then just assign it to your classroom like normal. Grades can be imported into Aries. There is a variety of questions that you're allowed to do in Google Forms. It's probably the biggest one. You can have pictures. You could do multiple matching questions. You could embed videos. There's just a lot you could do with it. You can shuffle the questions and answer choices. You can go back and regrade it. If there's a mistake on your answer key, you could go back, regrade, and it'll correct it for you. And you could integrate with add-ons. And so what I mean by add-ons is Google has third-party people will create certain things like this grid view that you're using right now in Google Meet. That's not an official Google release. That's somebody made it, and you can, since it's open source, they made it, you uploaded it, it works. So certain add-ons that work in Google Forms, there's a Equatio that's for math. It integrates graphing, math type, and all the other stuff that goes with math. There's also certain ones that will allow you to open and close the quizzes whenever you want to. So things like that, tons of add-ons. The cons, the setup takes time. Both this and Socrative, the front loading, there's a lot of work to be done up front. But once you get it done the first time, you're good to go. Pre-response questions need to be graded manually. Now you can actually, so I'm a math teacher. So if I said the answer is x equals 4, they have to write x equals 4 or it's going to be marked wrong. You can put down x equals 4 for x space equals space 4, all the different varieties. But in terms of like longer answers, you can go in and grade those manually. And then before you can import the grades to Aries, they have to be returned. And I know some of the teachers, you guys like to hold on to your quizzes and tests and don't like the students to see them. But it's easy. You could import the scores into the classroom and then just go side by side and typing in the answers that way. So let's go ahead and show you. So this is a quiz that we were talking, or that I was working on earlier. So you can see here, this is where I can have pictures as options for answers, which is nice. Once again, I'm a math guy, so I'm thinking if I just give the equation of, let's say, some sort of conic section, say which one of these graphs matches this, it's easy to have the equation, and then 4 different graphs, and it's easy to do. This was sort of a matching part where we had definitions and then words up on top. There's your fill in the blank, and we'll show you this in a second. And if you're curious what it looks for students, you could always hit the preview button I didn't have a question there, but they would just click on the answer they want. And you could see here's your matching. So fill this in, click on the correct one for each row. So how do we make a quiz? It's pretty simple. So you're going to go to Google Forms, and then you want to start a blank quiz. You could call it whatever you want to. Here's all the different types of questions you're allowed. You have short answer, paragraph. Those will have to be graded manually. Multiple choice. Yeah, and the other ones. Sorry, just got email. So all you do is start your question, write it in. The problem with Google Forms, and this is where I was saying it gets tedious. So if I said, what is today's, I don't know, date? You could see right away, Google's trying to think like it knows what you want your questions to be. So it's saying, oh, you want a calendar response. No, I don't. Okay, so that's part of the problem with this. So I would just say Monday, and it might, oh, there it goes, add them all. Some of them are good, they're useful. So here's where it gets tedious with Google Forms is I have to click on the answer key, assign the point value, 1, and then choose the correct answer. Here, hit done, and move on to the next question. So that's the tedious part about Google Forms. Now, the sort of shortcut here is the shuffling of answer choices and questions is also built in, but you have to do it for each question. So you would click on the 3 dots, and you see it says shuffle option order. You have to click that. So now I have this question where I've given the answer key, and it's going to shuffle all the options when they get it. Okay. So here's the sort of shortcut that I recommend for teachers to do. Most everybody has just 4 choices. The answer is C. Okay. And I would just put my 4 choices here, and I would make sure that every one of my questions, the first one is going to be my answer. And so what I mean by that is I'm going to click the shuffle. I'm going to say the answer is A and click done. Now I'm going to rewrite the next question, and I'll hit duplicate. So what duplicating means is you can see it's already selected that top one as my answer. So I don't have to go in, click the answer key anymore. Okay. And it's already shuffled the option order. So I don't have to do that anymore. So that seems to be the fastest way to do this. So for my next one, if I go to do this, I would say 2 + 2 equals, I would just make sure that my first answer is the correct answer. And then I don't care what the other answers are. Okay. Yeah. Just make sure, as I just looked at this, I forgot to assign the point value. So I would have to go back and assign the point value. That seems to be the easiest way to make the multiple choice questions. Since you're shuffling everything, it doesn't matter the order in which your answers are listed. It's just going to be shuffled no matter what. So there's that. To make a grid, so we're matching, that's going to be your multiple choice grid, where row 1 would be like your words, I don't know, meow, bark. I'll change these up a little bit. Moo. That way, so when I go to preview this, you can see that I'm supposed to be matching up where I'm going, and the bark didn't get put in. So there's that way of looking at it. That's how you would do matching. Fill in the blank. You know, fill in the blanks. Just let me see, pull it up. You could have fill in the blank be multiple choice. It could also be short answer. That's up to you. But yeah, Google Forms, there's just a lot of options. If you want to insert pictures into questions, you could see it says add image. All I would have to do is say, click on the image. It's going to go look. I could search in Google Images. I could search a file on my computer and just upload it there and have my options that way. You could see this. This is what I was talking about, Equatio. It's built in for mine. So if I wanted to add like a math equation, you could see it just popped up open on the bottom. So that's what we were talking about with the add-ons. So that is the benefit of Google Forms. It has a lot of variety and options to it, but that front end is probably one of the longer processes. That's why if you're just multiple choice A, B, C, D, I recommend just doing the, like we did up here with this one, where we're just going to keep copying the question all the way down and going that way. Before I move on to Socrative, I'm looking at the chat room. Do you have any questions? Okay, so De La Cruz talked about putting your questions in Word doc for your accents and symbols and then copying and pasting. That's the other thing. If you already have these in Word documents, you could open up these side by side, copy, paste in your questions. That might go faster. Marisol, Equatio is not embedded. It's an add-on. So you'd have to search for it and install it into your Chrome. Is there a list of add-ons you suggest you download for form quizzes? Not really. I'm looking at the ones I have. Advanced form notifications and form publisher. I think one of those two is the one that I would use to say you're going to open up at this time and you're going to close at this time. The other thing that you can do is have sections. I know certain teachers, they're like, okay, section 1, it's all matching. Section 2, it's all multiple choice. Section 3, it's all true, false. To make a section, all you do is click this add section button, and it puts in a new section right here. I was up at the top question. That's why I put it there. Yeah, so if you want to have a section of just multiple choice and move on. The other thing I've seen teachers do, this was recommended because once you put the assignment in Google Classroom, the students can actually just start taking the quiz right away. So what certain teachers have done is they've gone ahead and put in the first question is like a password. What's the password to the quiz? So they could post the quiz in Google Classroom, but give the quiz, or I'm sorry, give the password to the quiz right before it opens up. That way they can't move on to take the quiz. And that's fairly simple to do. So let me move this guy up. So I would just have password. This has to be a short answer. It does have to match. And I would say, let me see, answer key. I don't know, Mustangs. Sorry, Diamond Bar people. I can't spell though. So that's the only answer to get in. You would have that as a required one, and then you would start a new section, and that would be your actual test. So if you want to do it that word, that's your password protecting it. And then the last thing I would also suggest is your first question on your actual test is the student name. Google Classroom does everything by ID number, and so when you're searching through the quizzes, everything's done by ID number. So if you make that first question, what's your name, you'll be able to quickly see whose quiz you're looking at as you're going through each individual answer. De La Cruz, only YouTube videos can be embedded. Yes, I think so. To be honest with you, I haven't tried. Google's owned by YouTube, so I would assume, yeah, it's only going to allow you to embed YouTube videos. And then you also got the one from Timbrook. Yes, and that's the add-on to where you can, you know, set a password. You could also go just to responses and turn this off and on when you want to start the quiz. And once again, to get there, you have all your questions. You would go to responses and just say, you know what? No one's taking the quiz right now. So if you don't want to set a password, you can go ahead and just do it that way. Patricia, can we give the test during certain time of day only for our students? If you're posting this in Google Classroom, you would just post it to the classroom that you want to have taking the test. And then if you don't want to install the add-on that that can set the limits on it, you can go ahead and do what I'm showing now, which is you post it in there. And then when you say, hey, at 10 o'clock, you're going to start the test, you would come in here at 10 o'clock, go to your quiz and say, okay, you can now start it. Okay, so that looks like we're good on Google Forms. The next one we're going to look at is Socrative. And, oh, come on. There we go. Socrative is the easiest to make a quiz. That's just my opinion. I've actually used Socrative for about 7 years. Very easy to use. Grades can be imported into areas using an Excel file. You could get your reports in an Excel file. You can see the results as the students are taking a test. You could see everybody's name there, green if they got it right, red if they got it wrong. You can shuffle questions and answer choices just like in Google Forms. The nice thing here in Socrative, especially since we're all on crunch time, we have a large pre-made or a large database of pre-made quizzes. So if you don't want to make your own or you just want to try it out, you could go look at those. The cons, setup still takes time. You're still writing a question, still selecting an answer. Pre-response still needs to be graded manually. You can't go back to rescore if there's a mistake on the key. So if you're making the answer key and you make a mistake, you have to go in and manually in the grade book change the scores. You can have classes, so you could set up each period and import your rosters to where only those students could go in, but that's paid. And you could only run one test at a time with the free version. Now, like I said, for 7 years, I paid for this. I thought it was well worth it. So that's just my opinion. The price has gone up. You can see I have to renew mine, but I'm not. So it costs $50, $50 or $60. There's always discounts at the beginning of the year. This one's giving you a 25% off. So, yeah. Before I get started on this, I just got 2 more questions. Can we give the test during a certain time? Yeah, I hit that one. What happens if students don't take it? You just assign it another time. Do the same thing. And you can in Google Classroom actually assign certain assignments just to specific students. It's not like if you put something in Google Classroom, it goes to everybody. There's actually a drop down that says who you want it to go to. And it's defaulted to be all students, but you could set it to say, hey, this one's going to Johnny. Take this test. Jennifer, I'm sorry if my voice is breaking up. Let me have some water. Okay, so how do we do Socrative? So this is the page. You get to select your room number. You would just go to quizzes and add quiz, import if you went to the database, but if you wanted to create a new one, here it is. So math quiz, I'll stick to what I know. You can align it to standards, but you don't have to. And then here's your option. Multiple choice, true, false, short answer. The multiple choice, you can also do multiple selects. So I'll do the standard, 3 plus 4. And then over here, this is why it's easier. I'm not flipping back and forth on screens. I'm just saying what the correct answer is. I mean, that's pretty simple. I mean, it doesn't get easier. Each one is defaulted to be worth 1 point. So I don't have to worry about that either. So in terms of Google Quiz, where I had to go to a different screen to select an answer or assign the point value. Defaulted 1 point for every question. And you just click on the right answer. It does have basic formatting. So subscripts, there's no math type in it for those of you that are wondering. You can only add a picture to the question. So if I'm talking about those questions where I'm doing conic sections and I said, here's my equation, which one of these pictures is the answer? For Socrative, what I had to do is say, here's my picture, and then my 4 choice would be the 4 equations. Here's my conic section. Which one of these is the correct equation? So it's the same thing, a little bit different way of getting around it. And if I wanted to have more than one right answer, you know, just click on 2. And now I have 2 right answers. They light up green for you, so it's nice and easy to see. So that's multiple choice, true, false. I mean, it doesn't get any easier than that, true, false. And then short answer. Oh, I have to give a question. I'll delete that. And short answer. And you could add in as many correct answers as you wish. So that's pretty simple, straightforward. Question is, or not a question, is Socrative similar to Schoology? I never use Schoology. I know that I've seen when I've read articles about Socrative, it's kind of popped up in there. So I don't know. Like I said, this came around. I've been using this for 6 or 7 years. It's very nice. I have all my quizzes. I gotta delete that. There we go. All my quizzes are listed in here. And for a math teacher, I do send tests back. So it's easy for me to make a copy of a test and then just change the version number to something else. So that is nice. With the Pro version, it does have folders. I mean, they're folders. It's nice to have everything organized, but the search is very good. So if I'm looking for just my Algebra 2 stuff, I would just start typing Algebra 2, and you can see all my Algebra 2 stuff just showed up right there. So, I mean, we all given a budget. If I was doing assessments brand new, though, I probably would say use Google Forms because it's quizzes. I mean, it's free. It's built into your system. That's just my opinion. And that's Socrative. So that's very easy how to do it. Oh, and to launch it. So if I'm going to give a quiz, I would select quiz, assign the quiz I want to give. So math analysis. Next. We would always want to do open navigation, shuffle answers, shuffle questions. And if you want to show the final score, so when they're done, the score pops up right away. It says your score was 75, 92, whatever. You would click on that guy and it'll show the score. There's different ones if you're looking to give review assignments. Instant feedback is nice because they're going to take the test, or it's now just a review assignment. So before the final, I will actually do a practice final on instant feedback to where they take the quiz, and after every question, it tells them if they got it right or wrong. So that's nice. Teacher paced, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think I've ever used this one, but it just moves it. Like when I'm ready, I'll move on to the next question. But I would just, for regular tests, it's open navigation, shuffle, shuffle, and start. And then nobody's in here right now, but you would see all the class students would populate in here, and you would see them taking the quiz as they're doing it. If you are curious, this sort of orange color, that means it's I think answer only. The yellow is multiple choice. I know purple is true, false. So that's Socrative. I think it's the easiest to do, but to get the real benefits, you do have to pay for it. Because if you're paying for it, then you could have all your quizzes started at once and all your classes and all your rosters. It's nice. All right. Any questions? Okay. how do you get the kids to join and take the Socrative test? So what I have them do is I just tell them to go to Socrative or Socrative.com. I'm actually, don't know if this will show up because there it is. If they go to the student login, they would enter the room number. So my room number was 25PT8. And then enter my name. And there it is. There's my test that I was actually running. Oh, let's see what the answer is here. I'm going to take a guess here. 7. Why not? And then moving on to the next one. 5. Okay. And then let me go back to Socrative where I actually was. And since I started it, it's linked to your Google account, so that's nice. So my test is still running over here. And you could see, remember I clicked the button that said shuffle. So this student, his first 2 questions were over here. But in terms of where they were on the test, one of them was number 9, which I got wrong. And one of them was number 15. So I could see instantaneously. And for the student, oh, it's true, false. I'm just going to take a guess and say true. Okay. And teacher would be able to see on the true, false. It hasn't come in yet. No, I switched back. Anyways, you would be able to see the answers as they're coming in. So I like it, but I don't know if I would pay for it anymore. I think Google Forms is catching up and has a little bit more flexibility. Any other questions? Oh, Courtney, doctor, do you collect work to allow for partial credit? I do not. I just gave it right or wrong. What I would normally do is I would take a question, just throw it out, or maybe give them a bonus question. And I would have to say bonus question so they would know it's the one that's worth extra credit and do it that way. But I do know I have had student teachers that have used this, and they do collect their work when the tests are done. So that's up to you. It can be done. Can students go back and change their answers? Yes, they can. So I'll go back to this guy here. I think Socrative's having a hard time me being logged in twice. Yeah, it is. I broke it. But anyways, yeah, you can. You could keep going until the student hits submit. They can keep changing their answers all they want. And then when you're done, you would just hit finish. And yes, I want to end the activity. And then here's your reports. There's the whole Excel sheet that you would download. You could email it. You could get individual PDFs, question-specific PDFs. The email students is available in the pro version. That would email back their individual PDF report of the quiz. So that's that. Sherry, can I copy your math Socrative test to my Socrative free account? That's cheating. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, and this is how easy it is. So each one of these tests has this code right here, SOC, yada, yada, yada. So if you copy that and you go back to quizzes where you were, import quiz, you could see it's just asking for that number. And that's what you would enter, and it would import into your quizzes. That's why the nice thing about Socrative, there's this database, and I'll send it out in email, and I'll send it to Randy so he could push it out to the math teachers over there. But it's not just math stuff on there. It's history. It's everything's on there. Let me show you how big this database is. So this is stuff already done, broken down by subject, grade level. And then all you have to do is copy this code in and put it into your account. It's super easy. So yeah, so if we're looking at something here in this quick, we need something right away, this is a good option for people because quizzes are already made for you. But you know, it's totally up to you. I think the real benefits come from the paid version. But you know, any other questions on Socrative? Can you copy a quiz and edit it? Yes, Sherry, you can. In fact, that's how I do all my tests is, so if I have this math test here, I want to update it. That's a matrices one. Go down here. So I would just go to more and I would copy it. And now instead of it being version 2, I would just rename it to be version 3. And it should be right there. Moves right to the top. And now this is a new version that I could go ahead and change all my questions, all my numbers. How do you upload scores from Socrative to Aries? When you get that when you get the Excel file, I'm not going to try and go into the virtual desktop right here, but in Aries, there is a drop down that allows you to import with a file. And that file is an Excel file. And all you have to do is go and select the student ID and the score, whether you want to go with the number of questions correct or the percentage out of 100. That's up to you. If you are, and here's the last question I'll say about this, if you're not going to do the paid version that uploads the rosters, your first question on Socrative has to be, what's their ID number? Because Aries does it by ID number. So you have to be able to identify which student it is. So you have to have that as a question. If you do the paid version, you're uploading your rosters, it takes care of everything. But if you're going to do the free version, you have to have your first question be, what's your ID number? And once again, you could always just put the screen side by side and just go enter in like that way. But if you want to use the file, you have to have the ID number. Does Illuminate have an online test option? Oh, Darcy, you're moving ahead. We're going to do Illuminate right now. So let's move on to our last slide. So Illuminate, for those of you who've been in the district long enough, we started off with, there's something before this, but I started off with EduSoft. And, oh, Takahashi, can Socrative be timed? No, that's a manual thing. You have to do that on your own. You have to start it, finish it. You can't have it set to open and close on its own. No, Darcy, we haven't talked about Illuminate. That's our last one. So Illuminate, we started off EduSoft, Data Director, now Illuminate. Pros, if you are a teacher that has all these PDF versions of your tests already made, you're in luck. This is now your easiest way to give a test. You could easily take those PDFs, upload them in here, and get it done that way. Grades can be pushed from Illuminate to Aries. It can have rubric grading. If you're going to do an item bank test, good luck. The questions aren't the best, so you could do that. And you can set a time for your students to take the test. That's for Takahashi. Cons. It takes time. You notice that's actually for all of them. This one is probably the least amount of time, though, especially if you already have your PDF version of the test, because all you have to do is put in your answer key. If you want to make your own questions, good luck. It's very tedious. Free response, graded manually. You cannot shuffle question choices or questions themselves if you're using the flexible assessment. And if you're not doing a flexible assessment, it's easy to get lost when you're creating other types of assessments. So just be aware, this is, I would recommend if you're using Illuminate for the first time, to just do a flexible assignment. This is for the teacher that has the PDFs already made, and they're just going to upload them in. So here's good old Illuminate. You should have this on there. Create your flex assignment. And we will just say Algebra 1. And here you go. All you're going to do is, this is for your teachers that are multiple choice. There are other options, but if you're using the PDF of your test, chances are this is what you're looking like. You just select the answer, move on to the next one. Select your answer, move on to the next one. And that's all you have to do. Put in all your answers. The upload material buttons is also your friend, because that's where your PDF is going to come from. So I'm going to find it from my computer. So I could preview what this is. Oh, great. I have to wait for it to finish. But anyways, this is just a PDF version of my test. So when a student goes to take the test, you'll be able to see the test on one side and then you being able to fill this in. So I'm just going to put in a couple more. By the way, if you have more than one right answer, you can have multiples. You can see it's thinking. It's now saved. So I would hit done. Your assessment is ready? Sure. Online testing, this is what Darcy was asking about. You would click this for online testing, and you would want to do a test with a quick code. That's the easiest way to do it. You would click that button. It's going to generate your roster, and this is the code here that popped up that you would give to your students to say, go to Illuminate, here's your test code, and it would start the test. The editing button, you can see my window defaults to stay open for a week. So keep that in mind. You'd always want to shorten your window here. So you would say, I want these to be done on the same day. And I want them to only have 1 hour to do this and save. There's a bunch of other tools that allow you to calculator and stuff like that. You can see there's my booklet that's going to be used. Hit save. And preview assessment. This is what the kids should see. This reminds me when Jane tried to do this and her pictures didn't show up. So here's the PDF I uploaded. So you can see the students would have this. They would just go through and see the question and click them on here. And that's it. I mean, if you already have a PDF multiple choice test, that's how you do it. I would definitely recommend you to use Illuminate. I'm not a fan of it, but this is the best one to do right now. I mean, we're kind of crunched for time here. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel. Just use this. Let's hit some questions. Leon, do the assessments have to be PDFs or Word documents? I think PDFs work best. You could convert your Word document to a PDF. Mallets, as a shortcut, you could use a lightning symbol to add the total number of questions ahead of time. Good to know. Nichols, I want to know what ideas for test security. Photomath allows them to take photos of their problems. It solves the problem, work for them. Yeah, for all of these right now, the testing security, I don't know, I think you got in here on time, but right now we can, if they install their school profile, you could still use NetOp. So you could see what's on their screen. And then if you tell them to join a Google Meet, you would be able to see everybody at once. So you'd be able to watch your students taking the test while you're also seeing their screens. And that seems to be our best option right now. We're talking with other tech coaches trying to figure out if there's something else we could do. Courtney, how will students access Illuminate at home? It's actually a website they could access. It's also an app on the computer. I don't know the address off the top of my head. I would have to get back with you. And I'm sure Randy will push that out for Diamond Bar, but it is just a website they have to go to. Oh, sorry. Jerry can't see my cursor. Sorry. How do students get to Illuminate? Go to the portal. Once again, it's a website. Nichols is saying it's also on the portal. That's good. Kids can get through. Everybody likes the portal answer. Yeah, Darcy, once again, testing, we're going to have to rethink how we're doing assessments right now. Clearly, we don't have, I know that colleges have certain tools that they've paid for to really tighten testing security online, but we don't have that luxury or time to really come up with something like that. So you might have to just make new assessments, rethink how you're doing them. Do you want to keep it all the same way? Is there another way you could assess how these kids are learning the material? Just something to work with. Beamers. Okay, good. Jennifer, NetUp while they are logged in does work. Yes. So they have to create a new profile on their laptop or on their own computer. I tested it with my son's login. That's the benefit of having kids in the district. Logged him in, put him in my classroom, ran NetUp. I could see his screen, everything that was going on it. So they have to have that profile installed though, because if not, then they're just using a regular browser. It's not going to work. But if they have the school profile logged in, yes, you could run that. Any other questions? How do they do that? We'll make a video to do it. It's pretty easy. I'm not on my Windows laptop right now, but it's just going into the settings and hitting add a new person, and you would just add a new profile, log in with your school stuff, and it pops up and it's good to go. It's pretty straightforward. Any other questions? I have to make a video of that. Okay, we'll try and do something. Any other questions with any of these assessments? We kind of flew by. I figured it would take almost an hour to 50 minutes. My thing is this: if you want to keep doing online testing, I would recommend using Google Forms. If you're like, hey, I just want to do this to get us through, maybe Socrative's the easier way to write your test. If you already have PDF versions of your tests, if you have a ton, I had drawers full of PDF tests or paper tests. Just do it that way. Use Illuminate. Jennifer sent the link for the Illuminate. Mallets, how do you add Google Forms to your classroom? Just like you do for everything else. So let me go to, I just realized I'm not sharing my screen anymore. So this is my son's classroom. I made him. So if you want to make a new one from scratch, if you hit quiz assignment, that's actually going to generate a new quiz for you. Got it. So it's a blank quiz. You go in here and edit it here, just clicking it on. If you wanted to give them a quiz that's already made, you would just find it in Google Drive and upload it. That's pretty easy. How you access the graded answers in forms. Randy, I don't have a graded quiz in forms because I don't use forms. Let me see. Let me see. Let's see what this looks like. Oh, I just saw one. Yeah, I saw it. Sorry. That's not it. Maybe this one? Let's see how many responses I have. Zero. No. But you would go here. Gosh, now Randy's making me feel like I got to find it. Let me see if I did factoring. Yeah, Randy, next week is right. Oh, here we go. I found one. Boom. So you go to responses. This gives summary. You could look at it by question. And this is where I was saying, oops, this is the question I could look at. So I want to go to question 5. See how everybody did on question 5. That's going to show everybody's answer. If I want to look at individual tests, this is where I was saying to have their first question be their name. This is from trial and error, to where I added to putting these in later so I could see who's who, because it just didn't work the first time. But if I wanted to go down here, and let's say I saw that a question was marked wrong, of course, the one I pick, everybody gets right. Let's see if I can find a student that missed one. Jeez. Wow, I can't. But if I wanted to change the point value, I would just have to change it here and say 0. And then you have to save these. I know Google's known for everything being done automatically, but here you would have to save. So, and for those of you that are wondering, this quiz was made, and these are all answer only. This was not a multiple choice test. And it's not a multiple choice test. This was answers only. And I told the students ahead of time, I said, you cannot, I told them how to put in their answers. That it had to be parentheses, numbers, no spaces. So it graded it correctly. So, yeah. So that's how you would do it. From there, if you wanted to readjust any of the answers. And then if you wanted to upload, you do have to hit the release the score, and then you could push it to Google. I'm sorry, push it to Aries. All right. Let me see any other questions. Whether or not shared assessments. Yeah, Kate. Kate said departments may need to discuss whether or not to use shared assessments. It's all something new. So yeah, everything's on the table right now. What happens if a student never logs in to take a quiz? Yeah, I would give them a 0. Obviously, we have some issues with students getting devices. I don't think, I think that's something that's going to be discussed with admin, but I don't think, like, at least the way we're in talks of saying from 8:30 to 9:30, you have to be taking your math test. I don't think that's allowed. Hold on. No one knows. That's what my wife just told me. So that's it. Any other questions? All right. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Walnut people, we will be meeting tomorrow. If you have any questions about this, my recommendation is go ahead and go home, or you're already at home, sorry. Take a look at these, figure out which one works best for you. Bring your questions to the Q&A tomorrow, and we'll go from there. Thank you, everybody that showed up. Really appreciate it. I will be posting this up later. Thanks, guys.